What is going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Hope you guys are doing well. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Share this out. Hope you guys are enjoying the content and staying cool with all of this heat going on. So another Roster Bubble Series video for you guys today. And we're going to talk about an undrafted free agent, but if you haven't been to these videos before, I take a player that's on the cusp of being cut. I talk about their background. I talk about their competition, the ways they could win a spot on the roster, the ways they may lose a spot on the roster, and a prediction at the end. So, we're going to talk about defensive lineman Casey Rogers as our profile today. Casey Rogers was an undrafted free agent signed this year by the Giants. He is 25 years old, 6'5", 305 pounds. He went to Nebraska for a few seasons in his collegiate career and then went over to Oregon to finish his collegiate career. Played more at Oregon than he did at Nebraska, but I'll remark over the final 3 seasons of his collegiate career. Last year for Oregon, 14 games, 22 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 1.5 sacks with a forced fumble. 2022 with Oregon, 13 games, 34 tackles, 3.5 sacks, a defensive touchdown, 2 pass deflections, a fumble recovery. It's also notable that he played with Giants defensive tackle Jordan Riley on the same defense. And then 2021 with Nebraska, 7 games, 17 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, 0.5 sack, and that's pretty much that. So let's get into some of his traits, and then we go into competition and so on and so forth. This is per Sports Illustrated about his pass rush ability and stuff like that. He carried those pass rush traits to Oregon, where over his final 2 seasons, he created 36 QB pressures. His senior year tallied 11 hurries. Now, what is good about what Casey Rogers does? Well, he shoots gaps really well. He's got short area quickness. He's got some very good burst off the snap. And he succeeds on stunts and slants and twists across the line of scrimmage, which is pretty good. You know, it makes you versatile. You could play multiple roles, and it really helps out the front four. Now, you go to his bad, and this is where the ceiling is low for a guy like Casey Rogers. Plays with a too high pad level, lack of pass rush tool set, lacks technique, lacks power against quality, powerful run blockers, and lacks block deconstruction. The last one is pretty much summing up everything except for the pad level, or you could say it's part of it. But the fact that he can't deconstruct blocks without a stunt or a twist or someone just failing at a block or just being quick off the snap, which obviously is a part of it, it makes him less dimensional as a player. And usually you would want a 2-dimensional player. Sometimes you'd want, a 1-dimensional player. Okay, this guy can play the run or play the pass, whatever. But it doesn't give him a niche. It really doesn't, because he can't defend the run that well. He can't pass rush that well. And obviously, we saw, according to Sports Illustrated, that he had 36 pressures in his last 2 years. But we know why he's an undrafted free agent, because outside of burst off the snap, he doesn't have a pass rush toolbox. He doesn't. And he lacks block deconstruction and just lacks the power against these run blockers. Now, before we get to competition and everything, I want to provide a quick note on him. He's been the first guy out, so he's a hard worker, or they put him up to it as errand boy in training camp. So he's the first guy out at 9:20, 9:30 in the morning. Other than that, as far as camp has gone, he has not really produced. And as far as that goes, he's been with the third team the entire time. When Dexter Lawrence was sick, Nacho, Chapman, Davidson a little bit, Jordan Riley, Ryder Anderson, those guys got first-team reps. Casey Rogers didn't even move up to the second team, which is disappointing. Because if you're Casey Rogers, you want to show that you're good and you're working on your craft, and he clearly hasn't proven that to the coaches. So how can he win? Health is definitely the first thing that's on the list. Run defense. One of the main reasons the Giants are looking for different defensive linemen outside Dexter Lawrence is because the run defense has been poor the last few years, especially last year was extremely poor. And the Giants haven't been able to really replace good depth like Ashawn Robinson, and Leonard Williams was valuable against the run to a certain extent. But they're looking for defensive linemen that can play really well against the run or just plug gaps, make double teams happen, this, that, and the third. Make it difficult for the offense to run the football on you. And that DT2 spot is going to be a concern next to Dexter Lawrence. It's going to be a concern, and there's going to be different guys competing for that spot. Chapman, Ryder Anderson, Jordan Phillips, DJ Davison, Jordan Riley. They are competing for that spot in terms of starting and also just backups, rotating in as well. And Casey Rogers, hopefully he gets his block deconstruction better. Now, obviously, I know that's a little bit of a mumble-jumble word salad, but hopefully he learns how to deconstruct blocks better, and he's got a hell of a coach to do it in Andre Patterson, who's one of the best defensive line coaches in the league. He also needs to ascend up the depth chart, which means against the threes, this is not the one squad or maybe even the two squad with some starting caliber offensive linemen. This is the three squad where all these guys have been on practice squads, they're undrafted free agents, they have not made rosters, whatever their story is. Casey Rogers needs to go up against them and fight a little bit harder because, again, he has not produced so far in training camp, and he has not ascended up the depth chart with some of the injuries to the defensive line. So, run defense and pass rushing. Now, Shane Bowen does like to do more stunts than Wink Martindale. With that said, again, Casey Rogers has not been a factor. So hopefully when we get to those joint practices and the preseason games, he's a little bit more of a factor. Now, how can he lose? Health, again, stays with the third team. I think him staying with the third team is pretty much a sign of everything else not going in his way. His block deconstructing skills still very off. His pass rush tool set, nothing added to that. His run defense is still very poor. Loses versus the one-on-ones, the offensive lineman and defensive lineman. So those are ways right now that he could lose a roster spot. Now, obviously, he's not given a roster spot, but he could lose it end of August, beginning of September, if all these things still stay true. Because right now, it is staying true. Guaranteed. We have not gotten to 3 preseason games yet. We still have about a month-ish of camp, but he has not shown anything with the third team other than being the first guy out and being a hard worker. So hope the best for him, but I do think he's going to get cut. I think these 3 preseason games will pretty much say whether he's going to make the practice squad or not, whether he's worth taking on as a developmental project. But again, I don't think he's going to make the roster. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or video drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.